Okay, good morning, everybody. Charles, Lisa, how's it going?
Good, good. Good morning.
Good
Oh my
morning.
gosh. I don't know what it is, but today I'm having a hard time waking up, even with my coffee.
I think I can hear it a little bit in your voice, Chia.
Oh my god, dude. I think it's this week. Like lately I've been learning how to stretch my back because I never stretched that part of my body. And then oh my gosh, dude, I'm getting old. Dude, it's so bad. Like when I sit a lot, right? Like what live streaming like this and then driving around town all the time. So
Staging you guys do?
yeah, all of that. And dude, it's taking a toll. The other day after we were lifting up certain heavy items, and I was like, whoa, what is that part that's aching right now that's talking to me? It's just I was like, oh my god, this is bad. What am I gonna do? And then I was looking on YouTube and they're like, you need stretch. And then I started stretching. And I'm like, oh my God, you stretch hecka work. So for the past couple of days, I've just been doing nothing but stretching on my free time. Gosh, it is so important nowadays to stretch when you're like super old age.
I don't know if that is super old age. I mean, Gia, you're not
In
that old.
general. Yeah, like just stretching in general is important. Cause see, I
Yeah.
used to dance back in the day, right? I never stretched and I was okay. But now it's
That's a
so
story.
important.
That's a story for another time. I need to hear about this.
You didn't know about that?
I didn't know about
Oh,
that.
really?
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's a story for another night. but good morning everybody. Happy Thursday. Today we got a lot on the agenda. Just want to do go over market update for the week. For this week at least. And then we have a few other videos we want to react to. I don't know how you guys feel about these videos that we've been reacting to. Hopefully they've been um informative, helping you guys kind of decide how the social media world goes. Sometimes it's not all real. They leave a lot of important stuff out. So that's why we do these reaction videos because sometimes you watch something and it's just too good to be true. It might be too good to be true. So we kind of just want to break it down, and put a little bit of reality touch to it. That's why we do it. So if you guys have some videos you guys want us to react to or comment on or anything like that, man, send it our way. We'll love to watch it, view it, and give our reaction on it. But first, of course, we'll just do a little bit of market update. Let me just show my screen so we can see how Sacramento is doing. Gosh, I can hear my voice now too, Charles. Now that you're saying that, you're making me feel insecure.
Nah.
I'm telling you guys that mushroom coffee is pretty darn good.
Maybe I need to try the one that you and C tried,
Mhm.
and then I'll give it a shot. But here's the chart everybody loves and see. Let's just go over the data. Inventory slightly up from last week, 0.8%. New listings went down though by 4%. Sold homes are also down 3%, and pending home is up 13% from last week. Now, last month looks a lot different. Inventory is up 5%, new listings up 2%, sold home is up 2%, pending home is up 17% from last month. Now, let's compare that to last year. Same time. Inventory is up 36%. Are you serious? Wow. Okay. New listings up 23%. Sold home is up 3%. Pending homes are up 20%. Everything's up. That's good. That's really good to see. We need more inventory. We need more inventory. Have you guys noticed the market? Charles, you getting busy on your side? Inspections
It's
and all that?
crazy. It's crazy. I feel like, I mean, I know that these interest rates are the way they are and the prices the way they are, but it has not slowed things down at all. Like it's crazy how busy it's been lately. I don't know, if you guys have been feeling it too, but yeah, I mean, people are still they're still buying, they're still selling. And a lot of the reasons we talked about before are still similar, but it's still it's things are still moving, definitely still.
Yeah, it's a lot of, well, I'm just saying this based off from us, but a lot of the people that are buying right now, I feel like most of them wanted to buy the year prior and decided, you know what, I'm gonna wait and see how the market's going because I've heard from friends and family that the market's gonna, tank. So I'm gonna wait for that right time and then buy. And it's not happening. And then now they're like, oh my gosh, it's election year. I really need to buy now. And then they're back. So we got a lot of past clients that came back and they're resuming their search. We got a lot of new clients as well, that's deciding to buy. So it's definitely been super busy, like I've been running around all week. So yeah, it's I think people are kind of fed up with where they're at, and then they're like, you know what, I need to change because a lot of people they're also getting kicked out because their landlords selling their homes too.
Yep.
So they don't want to go back and find another home and rent, be lit month to month, and then get kicked out again, and then do the same thing over again. So I'm seeing that a lot too. All
And that's
right,
probably
let's get.
we were talking about the whole squatter situation, right?
Yeah, it's getting up there, y'all. I was talking to this lady yesterday. She's like a older lady, like probably in her mid 50s, a single lady. She's renting rooms right now.
She's renting out rooms or
She's
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 renting a
she's living in a room right now because her last place evicted her and she didn't want to pay market price today because she's been in that place for years.
yeah.
And during that time, it was affordable for her to live in a home by herself, but it's been so high, and her living income hasn't really increased that much. So she's decided, you know what, I'm just gonna go and rent a room from somebody that has extra space. It'll be more affordable, and that's what she's been doing.
Well, you know what, Chia, that's a really, really good thing to point out because if you look on like just rentals right now, even in our Elk Grove forum, there's so many people who are just renting out a room, maybe even two rooms. People who are like in my situation where we're pretty much empty nesters and everything, and now we have extra rooms and things like
Yep.
that, right? We do with those empty rooms. So you got to ask yourself too. This is a great way to understand. I was like, hey, which side of the coin do you guys want to be on in a situation where you guys have to move again because your landlord's selling, right? Do you want to put
Mhm.
yourself or set yourself up in a position where now you're forced to live in a household that may or may not be comfortable for you and be confined in just your room? Most of the people who rent out these rooms, you can't use the kitchen, no cooking, things like that too. So if that's okay with you, absolutely. But wouldn't you rather be the person being able to rent out these other rooms for the extra additional income that's coming back to you?
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit before about being creative with your home, to be able to offset your mortgage and all that for the time being until everything kind of normalizes, right? Or until you refinance. So, yeah,
Mhm.
that is definitely one way. And I think a lot more people are starting to see that it's okay to do that. Everybody was so like accustomed to, no, this is my space, my home. Nobody else is coming in here. I need my privacy. But eventually everything goes up because taxes going up, it's getting reassessed like every year. It's crazy. And so I think people are now realizing, oh man, I need to find another way, like another side gig or something to be able to offset all of these debt. And they're getting creative. Everybody's getting creative, y'all. Everybody's going to TikTok and YouTube and learn from these gurus. All right, let's continue on with the market update. Average price per square foot went down from last week, just a slight, but from last month, it's up just a slight. From last year, though, it's up almost 4% on average price per square foot. Again, I'm gonna say it just because it's on average 341 per square foot doesn't mean that might be catered towards your home. This is just kind of like the average overall in Sac County, whether it's one bedroom, two bedroom, three bedroom, four, five, six, whatever. Okay, it's the average for Sac County overall. Your home is gonna be different. Okay, so don't say, "Oh, I heard it from Chia's live stream that my home is 341 per square foot." Don't do that. Okay, please don't do that. Get actual comparison comps for your area. Okay, days on the market. How fast homes are going? 1 day less from last week. 20 days on average for a home to go off the market now. And from last month, 20 days compared to 29 days. And from last year, same time, 20 days on average versus 39 days. See, so here you guys go. On average, 20 days, a home's going to go off the market. So if you guys see a home that just hit the market, most likely those homes are going to get a lot of action. So if you're a buyer that don't want to go through a lot of competition, those are the homes that you need to avoid. If you don't want any competition and that if that home is just slightly nice, staged, remodeled, move-in ready, it's probably going to be gone under 20 days. If it's not, then something's wrong with it. That's kind of like a good rule of thumb that I like to tell a lot of my clients. So if you don't want competition, especially investors, most of the time, target a home that's outside of this days on the market. Because most likely that home's not getting offers for a reason. Maybe it's overpriced, needs work, or something's just wrong about it. So keep that in mind. Average price sold and average price listed went down a little bit from last week. Sold price went down 3% from last week. Okay. Now, last month, active price is up 1% comparison, and sold price on average is up 1% as well from last month. From last year, sold price is up 3%. Active is down 1.9%, but we care more about the sold. Remember that. We don't care too much about the active because active is just what people think the home is worth. Sold is actually what the home is worth. Remember that when you're comping your house. All right, let's go over to inventory wise. Oops. 1.4 months worth of inventory from last month. 1.3. Slightly more, but again, it's still very low. We are still in a seller's market. Okay. We do have more than last year. 1.4 months worth is 1.1. But it's still not enough to offset this market to create a shift for buyers and sellers. So still competitive out there. Okay, buyers and sellers, if you guys are wondering, is it still a good time to sell your homes? Is it still going quick? Yes, on average, within 20 days, it should be going off the market with plenty of offers. But of course, that just because the market is doing well and it's going quick and it's a seller's market, don't mean you get to name your price, doesn't mean that you get to just do whatever with the home is going to be gone because buyers aren't dumb. Okay. I was showing this house the other day and it was not priced very well. The home was nice. It was recently remodeled. It wasn't a full remodel, but it was recently remodeled, but they listed it too high. So it's been on the market for like a little bit over like 3 weeks and it's not getting any offers, and it's because of the price. But sometimes sellers are just stubborn, they need time to kind of reflect and go, okay, maybe it is the price, let me reduce it down. But imagine, okay? Imagine if you would have priced it correctly the first day it hit the market. It would have probably been gone way quicker and you wouldn't have to go through that. Because remember, the longer the home sits on the market, your home is actually hurting because buyers don't want to see it no more because they already automatically assume something's wrong with it. And then two, you know, you're still paying the bills to turn on the lights, the water, the utilities, the mortgage, and if you're an investor, you're probably paying interest only on your hard money loan, so that's going into all your costs, your holding costs. So it's so important that you market your home correctly, price your home correctly, and don't just take advantage of the situation that everybody has going on. Yes, it's a seller's market, but you don't get to name your price. Um, I mean, even appraisers they don't name the price. They just go based off of what's around the area, and then they do comparisons against another home and another home. Was I right or was I right? I'm just saying. Okay, let's go over Mortgage Daily. Let's do that.
Yes, please.
Let's look at the market for rates. Okay. Conventional fixed 7.3%, 6.8% for 15-year fixed. Jumbo loan is 7.5. ARM is 7.4. FHA 6.8. Not much of a change, huh?
No, not much.
Yeah,
The Feds
not
are
much.
meeting again next week. I got a couple of people that really want to wait and whatnot, and you guys already know from how long I've been saying this. It's very volatile. Almost 3 years now. When you get a chance, go ahead and lock. Don't gamble.
Yeah. One thing I wanted to talk about more on that too is if you guys are in contract right now, the longer you guys wait to lock, you guys are delaying the process. And
Yes.
sometimes some sellers are not too accommodating and they will not give you that extension. And if they don't give you that extension, then that means you guys are gonna have to cancel and you're gonna have to start the process all over again. You know, um, most sellers won't do that because they just want to sell and they don't want to restart the process with another buyer. But some sellers do. There are some sellers out there that are stubborn and that feel they're getting taken advantage of and that buyers are just milking their time when they could just entertain another offer that's more serious. So it goes both ways. So if you're gonna extend the lock and extend the whole escrow period, like don't just don't just go by your gut. Talk to your agent, talk to your loan officer that's helping you, so that way you could have a better understanding of the overall picture timeline for your escrow. Because depending on how fast you brought in all your docs to your loan officer, um if that took a while already, that's already a delay, you know. And then depending on how long you take to read like the disclosures that your loan officer sent out for you to lock in the rates and order appraisals and all that, that's gonna cause a delay too. So, it's not anything to pressure you to make a rush decision, but you know, sometimes some buyers do not take that as serious as we see, right, Lisa? Like they
Mm-hmm.
like they take their time on it. And
Mm-hmm.
when you're in escrow with the home, you do not want to take your time on things like that because sellers will send a notice to perform. And when that notice to perform gets sent within 3 days after that, they can cancel on you. Okay, so just keep that in mind.
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Charles, you want to talk about your topic today, bro?
Yeah. So,
Ye-
lately, as I've been doing inspections, just throughout the last few months, It's always kind of the same thing, and I've been kind of preaching about this for years. One of the things that's so important when you're a homeowner is maintenance, right?
Yeah.
So seeing the people that don't do their air conditioning and heating maintenance and the damage it can cause. I mean, you got to think about it. These systems are very expensive. Your siding system, whether or not it's stucco, wood, fiber cement, board, all of these things, regardless of what it is, they all require maintenance. And what I've noticed the most is when people buy new homes and they figure, okay, well, I got a brand new home. I don't need to worry about any of these things, right? And then, 10 years later, they think, oh, okay, we're going to sell now. We're going to move on to a different place. And then they think, man, well, I just bought this brand new home. Everything was supposed to be good, or whatever the case may be. And then they find out all of these things have problems that they didn't maintenance, right? So from the very beginning, whether or not you're buying a home that's been, it's a pre-sale or used home, somebody's been in it before, whatever it is, you get your home inspection, everything's done, and then, you kind of go about your business. Or if you're buying a brand new home that's never been lived in, everything's new, you don't have to worry about it. You need to still do the maintenance on the regular intervals that everyone suggests. So for example, on your HVAC system, air conditioning and heating, you want to have an air conditioning technician and heating technician come out at least once a year. And what they're going to do is they're going to check to make sure everything's functioning properly. On some of these newer systems, there's leaks that can occur that can cause damage to, the actual unit itself, or it can cause damage to the surroundings. You want to do as a homeowner, and if you don't feel like doing it, hire somebody to do it. You want to do maintenance on the exterior, sealants and all of these things that seal up your home where pipes penetrate through the walls, or you have different pieces of material contact each other. For example, if you have fiber cement siding, that stuff's super resilient. It lasts a long time, but they're still using wood trim, on a lot of these different things on the outside. Any of the trim on the outside of the corners or around posts and things like that. All that stuff still usually wood in this area, right? So whether or not you have a newer home or older home, stucco, any of those, if you have sealant that's on the outside, that stuff usually lasts. After a while, you're going to get some, especially in the heat. This heat from this area, it's going to last a couple of years, maybe 3, 4. And then as you start to get a little older, that stuff starts to crack. And when it cracks, it allows water in. Water damages all of these things, right? So again, as time goes on, the longer you wait to do this maintenance, don't put it off. Your gutters are leaking. Well, I'll get to that later. All of that stuff is eventually going to cause problems, and it's going to cause things to cost a lot more than they would if you just did the maintenance. A tube of sealants, depending on what grades you get, if you get a good outdoor sealant, it's about $5, and then your caulking gun and all that, and it's a day's worth of your time maybe to go around your house and do some of the sealing and things that need to be done. What's going to end up happening is that, $5-10 of material and maybe a day's worth of your time is going to end up costing you hundreds of thousands of dollars, depending on the situation, right? One little section of dry rot that rotted the wood, might cost you, a couple $1,000s to fix that, or maybe $500 to, $1,000, but whatever it is. But think about it that way. That side door that you see the paint's worn on, sand it down and paint it. Get a can of paint from Home Depot. Might cost you $15. But if you have to replace that door, it might cost you $1,000 because it's rotted, And you think, well, why do I need to replace my door just because it's rotted at the bottom? Well, you're going to get water intrusion possibly if you don't. Or if it's rotted enough, then you'll have rodents start to crawl into your house because you have a giant rotted hole in the bottom of your door. So all of these things basically just come down to the same thing. Don't put off the maintenance. It's very important. And the whole point of that, again, is because it'll end up saving you money later. Again, areas. Go ahead, Drew.
I think, people don't intentionally ignore their maintenance. They see it and then they're like, oh man, I need to get to it. And it goes in the back of their head, right? And then they continue on with their day, their livelihood, and it's busy. Everybody's busy nowadays. And then they forget. And then they notice something else. Oh man, I need to do it. They forget. They put it on the back. They continue on. And then by the time you know it, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years go by, 30 years go by. It's like, oh my gosh, all these things I was supposed to do, right? And it adds up. The reason I'm sharing based off of experience, because that's what I do. That's why I hire people like Charles to come and check my house.
Well, and
So
that's
that
what I
way,
was going to say. If you don't have time because you're a busy person, totally understandable, right? Then in those cases, it's sometimes what you have to do. You know, some people don't have time to mow their lawns, right? And so they let their
mm,
lawn go for a month or whatever. But that's the whole point is when people are super busy, they don't have time for things, they typically end up having to hire people to get things done. And that's fine. You know, there's nothing wrong with that, but it's definitely still a good idea. Even if you're going to pay for the maintenance to be done now, it's still going to cost you less to pay for the repair later because you didn't maintenance it. Just get on a regular schedule, you know, hire somebody that'll come out every year, that'll get on a schedule and come out to your home every year on a schedule to do the cleaning your gutters, seal your any of your joints and your wall penetrations, things like that, maintenance your air conditioning and heating system. If you don't have time or you don't have the ladder to get up and change your filter, or you don't have the time to go up into the attic, or you don't want to, hire somebody to do it. It's fine, but just don't put it off, because even the cost of hiring somebody is still going to be cheaper than the cost of repair for sure.
So now that you mentioned that
100%.
that maintenance and everything, Charles, I want to include this too. This is a wonderful thing. You guys already know I got a free upgraded water heater the last time and everything. And the California is also giving a rebate of $4,500 if you're upgrading your AC and heater unit to electric right now, guys. Okay, I'm doing it. I already scheduled somebody for Friday. And the crazy thing is, a lot of times, Chia, you mentioned earlier, it's not intentional, but people think it's much more expensive than it is. And sometimes it is if you don't do your homework, if you don't do your research. So I'm really, really happy to find out that not only do we get a rebate, but the guys that are installing it for me, they're really, really good guys. If you guys are looking to do that, please reach out to me. I'll give you their contact and everything like that. So for me, my house was built in 2002. So, you know, it's on its last leg already, right? And they're switching it out. So instead of that ugly, like air conditioning box that's out in your backyard and everything like that and takes up so much room, now it's like a really small confined thing on my wall and everything, and the sound is so much more quiet. And so I'm super looking forward to this. And get this, you guys, it's $25,000. That's a lot of money. However, these guys gave me a $5,000 discount. On top of that rebate, it's another $4,500. So I'm getting this for $15,500. Here's where
wait,
the beauty is. Yeah, go ahead.
wait, it's $25,000 for just a water heater?
No, not water heater. This is for to replace. Now I'm replacing my AC and heater unit for my entire.
Got it. Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
So it's about $25,000 to $30,000, you guys. Okay, but these guys gave me a $5,000 discount, which I already told them that I'm going to talk I'm going to share it with the TT fam. And if you guys want that, they'll give you the same discounts that they gave me. So it's $5,000 off. And on top of that, with the rebate, and just like the last time, guys, the rebate goes quick. So if you guys need it, absolutely look into that. So I actually only ended up paying $15,500. That's still a lot of money, right? So they also do financing, you guys. $15,500, 0% interest for 18 months. So if you pay it off, which is only $833 a month. If you pay it off, you don't have to pay for the interest. And then after that, it's a 10-year loan. If you weren't able to pay it off, it's about $330 something a month for 10 years, every single month. So they make it as affordable as you can. Like Charles says, yes, you're going to have to put in some on the maintenance, but that $15,000 that I'm paying to do this saved me probably hundreds of thousands of dollars, because the coolant was leaking through my attic, and it could cause mold, it could cause asbestos, it could cause a whole bunch of other damages if I prolong it even longer. So hopefully that'll help some of you guys that need to upgrade that too.
Let me
Well, and
clarify something too. Let me clarify
Mhm.
something, okay? Because people is gonna hear that number 25,000. They're gonna be like, "Oh my God, is that expensive to replace a water heater and HVAC? I'm not doing it." Bear in mind, Lisa has a very nice big house, so of course her appliances are gonna be a little bit more pricier. For us, that have smaller homes, that's not that nice. It's probably not gonna be that high. Okay, remember your HVAC unit's gonna have to be equipped to be able to cool
Correct.
and heat up the whole house. Lisa has a big house, y'all.
For
well,
reference,
and
it's not big, but it's about it's a little shy of 3,400 square feet. So hopefully that'll give you guys a little bit of a reference.
well, And let's talk about that for a second, okay? So the type of system that you're talking about, because I know what you mean when you're saying it looks really nice and it's quiet. So this is a heat pump system. It's an inverter system. So those, you can get a cheaper HVAC system that is going to have that still loud condenser on the outside and big box, all that stuff. But this type of system that you're buying here, it's quieter. You got to think about it. As your system gets older, 20, 25 years, not only is it super loud, your air conditioner outside, it is extremely not efficient at all, right? So this thing, you're talking about your bills. I hear people telling me their electric bills are $500 and $600 a month. That's insane, right? So when you think about it, this system that you're getting, this newer style inverter heat pump system, is so efficient. The way that it operates, it only uses up the power that it needs. It doesn't just operate at full speed all the time. It only operates at the speed that you need, and it's super quiet. You really cannot hear this thing at all. So if you got to think about it, your electric bill is also going to be less. So let's say you save $200 or $300 a month, possibly on your electric bill. That's money that you could be putting towards a payment on a newer system that's gonna be more efficient. It's gonna cool your house better, heat your house better, and it's gonna last longer. And you're still saving money. And then your maintenance is also gonna be in a better situation too. So overall,
That's awesome.
definitely good situation. And when you're talking about that rebate, you can still switch to a regular conventional electric heat pump system that's not the inverter style. Those are a little bit cheaper, and you can still get somewhat of a rebate on some of these units still, and it's still going to cost you less. So like Tia was saying, you can spend about maybe 10 to 15. HVAC systems are expensive, right? When you're talking about a full replacement on both heater and air conditioning system, the split system or even a package unit, they're very expensive. So, it's still going to be upwards of somewhere between 10 and 15,000, and then you can get discounts on top of that, that's great. Same thing with water heaters. Water heaters are pretty much going to be somewhere between 2 and 3,000, regardless of what size house you have, because the water heaters themselves are about $1,000, and then you're talking about the installation from a plumber. Please don't do it yourself. I've already had enough horror stories. Unless you
But
really
I got
have skills,
YouTube.
I'm just saying
Mhm.
it's fine, but you're probably not going to do it the way you're supposed to do it. And I have seen it so many times. I understand. If you really want to look at the codes and you really want to follow the rules and do all that stuff, more power to you. Because I would do it myself all day. But if you aren't going to do it the way that you're supposed to do it, there's reasons for all of these different codes and things that they're requiring now. You need to make sure you're doing it right. And if you don't get some help, or just hire somebody to do it, because then if you go to sell your house, you're gonna have to fix all that stuff later anyway. So better to just have it done right the first time.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Do it before the rebate expires, you guys. And I'm so glad that you say that, Charles, because I'm so looking forward. When I changed my water heater out, my bill did lower by half, you guys. I mean, my PG&E was for this size house for a family of 4 and whatnot. It's roughly about $400 a month, and now it's less than $200, guys. So I'm so excited when I'm
Super
changing
efficient.
my unit. Yeah, that was just my water heater. So now, I'm just
HVAC.
super looking forward to this.
Have you heard those before? I mean, I don't know if they probably just told you how quiet they are. Extremely quiet. I mean, you literally, it's not what you're used to at all. The other ones, just even the newer ones, they're still loud. These things are so quiet, but what you're getting, so quiet.
Well, I'm getting it installed tomorrow, so I'll be excited
Nice.
to share you guys next week how it works out and everything like that. I'm really super excited. Now that I'm
Oh
thinking
yeah.
about that, I totally forgot the efficiency of that, which means I just saved that almost over $200 just upgrading my water heater. And now if I'm upgrading this, I can't imagine what the next bill is going to look like. That $300 and something that if you choose the financing, you guys think about that. You've already made that up, and you get 0% interest for 18 months. So you pay that off. You don't even have to worry about that anymore. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And I'll have it. Charles, how long do these things, once I upgrade it, how long does it usually last now, since it's so much more efficient and it's, the technology is so much better than it was before?
I mean, most of the heat pumps, they'll last about, it's about the same as far as the internal components. But I mean, somewhere between 20 and 30 years. Most of the heat pumps are definitely more efficient in that regard. Anytime you're talking about a natural gas or like a propane burner on a system, those are going to last less time than the coils on the heat pump systems will. So you'll typically get a little bit more life out of those. But on these newer systems, I mean, I know there's been some concerns with, okay, we have a new technology, how it's going to be, but these types of systems have been around for a while. They've just been making them better and better, and then now, typically, it was something that was just a small unit, and you'd have a small split, one of those boxes on the wall that you would have. But nowadays, they're making them large enough so that you can basically have a whole entire system in your attic connected to one of these inverter systems on the outside. So yeah, but you're going to get a little bit more, probably another 5 to 10 years, but you would over a standard system.
Okay, so since my house was built in 2002 and it's about 22 years, okay, guys. So if I get about 5 years on top of that, that's 27 years, guys. 15,500. If you divide that by 27 years, okay, you're looking at $55 every single month that it would cost you to upgrade this. Do it now. Don't wait.
And think, and not only that, look at the cost of what electric's going to raise to, right? It's going to raise up every year, right? So if you keep that old unit, eventually it's going to break anyway. But if you keep that old unit, that's still just, constantly costing you.
Started on the bills.
Yeah,
it's crazy nowadays.
But electric's just going to continue to go up, right? So the more you can save, the more efficient you can get, the better off you're going to be. I don't want to talk about solar because that's a whole other conversation, but that's the point, is that's just the direction that California is going. And so you're going to be continuing to get these types of rebates and incentives for going electric. And the more efficient electric
they're forcing people to go electric. Yeah.
I think, a lot of the new builds that I've been inspecting, they're putting in, obviously they put solar on. That's a mandate. That's what has to be done in California anyway. But instead of going with natural gas water heaters, I've been seeing a lot of electric and heat pump water heaters because, again, they're more efficient. And then, they start to get into a lot more heat pump systems. I've still seen a lot of natural gas furnaces, but I think that's going to start to go away too.
No, it's already going away. No more natural gas burners starting this year, 2024.
Dang.
I know, Asians in their kitchen.
No, you know what I'm thinking, Chia? I was like, dang, that's crazy. One, I'm wondering if the people that still have it, the home insurance companies are still going to insure. So are they going to force?
I think that's definitely going to be a play in the future.
Dang, that sucks. But I'm hoping that they don't do that because, many households still have gas. Okay. Majority of homes still have gas. So it might take a while. I'm hoping.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will, because to the new builders that I spoke to about this, they said that if you want gas instead, stovetop, it's an upgrade.
That's so crazy. So the homes with gas stoves are ready. Now it's like
that's a luxury
value. I wonder if the appraisal is going to come in a little bit higher. That would be interesting.
But I want to share this video with you guys. Okay, so let's watch this video together and we can talk about it. Okay.
All right.
Let me just share my screen real quick. Can you guys see that?
Yep.
Okay, let me reload this.
Things that I would do if I was Prime Minister of Canada. Part 7, and this is probably...
Yes, this is in Canada, but you guys will like the message.
The one that gets me assassinated, but here we go. I'm going to lower housing prices by banning businesses from owning homes. My view is that homes are for people to live in, not for businesses to buy as an investment. If you want to invest in something, invest in the stock market, invest in building a business, invest in something that grows the economy. Don't just buy up houses just to increase the price. Like, why are businesses and mega corporations allowed to come into a town, buy up all the houses just to increase the housing price so that they can increase rent, so they charge so much rent that the people renting the houses can't even afford to buy the houses that they rent? It's absolutely ridiculous. You want to bring housing prices down? Ban all corporations from owning houses, make them divest all that. That will lower the housing prices, make it affordable for the average person again. Let the corporations invest in building businesses, because that's what corporations do. Houses should be for people to live in, not for businesses to hold as an investment portfolio.
How do you guys feel about that?
He makes a good point. I understand where he's coming from. I think he's doing it for the people, right? For the people who are struggling, who are saying, hey, you know, the reason why I can't even get into this market is because so many people are buying, these corporations are buying, and they have the money to do that, where the average person does not. And slowly but surely, we're going to go into a situation where everybody has to rent because of what these companies are doing. Now, to be fair, okay, to be fair, people who buy real estate is because of its investment, uh, you know, potential, right? So I see where he's getting at. I would say that's not a bad idea, but how about we say everybody should be allowed to buy up to 4 homes?
I
Limit,
think what he's referring to, I see where you're coming from, but
yeah,
I also see where he's coming from because like for the past couple of years, we heard about a lot of these big hedge fund
right,
companies, right?
right.
Buying heck of homes, and they're naming their price basically when it comes to rentals, right?
Yeah,
And that's what's driving everything up. Not just that, but that's what's the locals, right? So I think what he's referring to is big, big corporations like, Vanguard, Blackstone, things like that. But
okay, that makes more sense.
yeah, but to somebody that has like a small LLC that maybe just started their portfolio into rental investments or flips, I don't think he's referring to that because if you look, like Lisa, I think you know this too. A lot of those mom and pop investors that do have rentals and that do flips, they don't they probably own the most I've seen somebody own most of the time is like what 10, 5,
Yeah,
10. A lot of them are
20,
like mom and pops, mom
yeah,
and pops, but they're always liquidating. And honestly, a lot of those folks they're people, and they feel the hurt for everyone, right? So when they sell, they actually try to make it affordable for the person that is buying. It's not like nowadays a lot of first time investors, they just want top dollar on everything but do the bare minimum, right? They do makeup and renovations to cover up everything but make it look nice on the outside, but they overprice it, right? So a lot of investors doing that, but a lot of these older mom and pop investors that don't have that many homes in their portfolio, they tend to like try to sell it to their renters most of the time that's already been there for years. Like we've done some transactions like that before, right? To where
mhm,
they were renting there for like 5+ years and then now they want to own. And so the owner kind of gave them a deal. So they bought it off the market and all that. See, so like there are people like that. Yes, there are also uglier people on the other side as well that this dude's referring to. But I think he was referring to like big, big corporation. Like Mike says, like Redfin. Not just Redfin, but then like, like Zillow, Open Door, and like these people, if you guys really follow the money of where they get all their receipts from, it's from hedge funds.
yeah,
From the Vanguard, Blackstones, from all these big corporate companies that this gentleman right here is referring to.
yeah.
How do you feel about this, Charles?
I mean, I feel like he's general reason why that housing prices are going up and that the costs are driving them up and all that stuff. There's obviously other reasons besides
Mhm.
that, right? But I feel like just making it out so that it's just the one reason. And again, this is the problem. You get people that don't do any kind of research. Now, again, now granted, I haven't done anything. I know that there's other reasons, but I haven't looked into this, which is why I don't draw a conclusion at this moment. But people watch these things and then they're like, oh, that's what
Yep.
it is. It's all of
Yep.
it. And that's the problem with some of these videos, these social media things, when they pop up like this, that people just say, oh, well, that's all that it is. And then they develop their opinion based on that. And they're like,
Yep.
screw big business, whatever. There's other reasons why
There is.
prices are high too. But that's the only thing is that to
That's a
me
good
it's
point.
more, yeah, it's more like one of those scare tactics or one of those in your face so that you believe it kind of things that makes me be like, man, why are you gonna say it like that? But I get, like you guys were saying, I get what he's saying and I understand that and I don't like that either. But there's other reasons, and some of those reasons are us, as to why prices are going higher too. So I feel like it's just another one of those things where it's like, wait, kind of like, big deal. Look at this and all that. But
It's funny because
I'm not gonna say I don't agree with him.
it's funny you said that because it reminded me of my post I put the other day. I said, why do you say that you hate people that is telling you to lower your commission when that's your livelihood, but then you don't take your own advice when it comes to other vendors servicing you? That's hypocrisy, right? And it's exactly right. There's a lot of reasons why home prices are the way they are, because sometimes I'll go talk to sellers, right? And then these sellers, they want the highest price for their home. So of course, if let's say that same seller saw this video and goes, "Yeah, I agree. Ban corporation from buying all these homes and making prices go up." And then you go to them and say, "Okay, when you sell your home, can you sell it at a discount? So that way prices aren't going up." They're gonna be like, "Why would I do that?"
I want the most
So
money.
yeah, so to each their own. And so that's exactly true, because the only reason these videos seem relevant and true to some folks, and they take it verbatim like that, is because the economy we're in right now, right? Everything is high. So it feels like, yeah, we need to blame somebody. Let's blame corporation. They watch this. Yay, it justifies my means. I'm blaming the corporation. But what if the market was flipped and now it's a buyer's market? Are those same sellers going to be saying the same thing? Man, how come back in the day when corporation was buying a lot of homes, my home was worth 5x, now it's worth 1x? So to each their own. But I do want to read some of the comments. It's pretty funny. This guy goes, "While we're at it, let's ban homeowners association." It's funny because homeowners associations most of the time are formed by the people within that community.
Correct.
So if you want to ban homeowners associations, don't live in a condo. Condos are most of the time always have association fees. But secondly, vote no for homeowners associations in your area, because some people might want to step up and introduce it to the neighborhood. If you don't want it, vote no and get a petition for it. That's the only way, unfortunately. But we made a video about homeowners association a couple of weeks ago. So you guys should go watch that too. That's funny. This person says ban foreign owners from buying property in Canada as well. We'll just say California, okay? Because foreign owners aren't just buying in Canada only; they're buying all over. How do you guys feel about the foreign owners buying in like the States?
Well, I mean, what's the difference? Well, no, I mean, I guess it just depends on your outlook on it. But I mean, there's a lot of people that buy homes from different states, right? They'll, like, sight unseen as an investment. They'll just buy a rental home in a different state, But what would be the difference for us? I mean, it's a different economy, right? So, like, if you're from Canada or from United States and you're purchasing a home in Canada, I mean, and then but you're not contributing to that economy. Like, you're using that money for this economy. Is that what they're concerned about? Like, is that why they're bringing that up? Like, what's the point of that? We all damn, I can't think of the word, but we all get good things from getting things from different countries. All these phones and different technologies and everything, and it's still contributing to that country and not here. So I mean, I don't know. I say, what's the difference? But I'd like to know why that comment was made. I think that's what it is. It's like, well, let's keep everything here in the country, and whoever owns it it's gonna benefit this economy and not theirs.
Yeah, I think saying to ban foreign owners from owning property in like in the States or anywhere, because like what you say, we become foreign in other countries because you hear a lot about Americans investing in like other countries, like Mexico, like all of that, and so like for them, we're foreign, man. California is going to Texas. Californians are considered foreign. Like I remember when they were talking about the great exodus of California, right? During COVID and all that. A bunch of Texans made a video saying we don't want you Californians over here. You know what I mean? So like it's kind of like that. So I think to ban, I think there's so much more involved that goes behind that, because like what you're saying, trading, right? A lot of the things we do nowadays, man, we rely a lot on like other countries for resources, and vice versa. They rely a lot on us for resources too, right? So I think it goes both ways. You can't really have one standard going one way. It needs to kind of be straight across throughout. How do you get like what about you, Lisa? How do you feel about that?
I kind of agree with Charles. I mean, yes and no. It's because like I love to travel, and every time I travel, in my head I'm always thinking it's like, okay, I would like my next home to be here. I would like my next home to be there, and things like that. So if we say, hey, you're right, foreigners who buy real estate in other countries, it's a little bit. It's going to feel a little bit unfair because they're not contributing to the economy. But at the same token, if you also want to buy, right,
Let's make you done.
elsewhere, it would be harder. It would be hypocritical for me to say, hey, well, foreigners shouldn't buy here because they're not contributing. Well, I'm not contributing over there too. And I kind of really want to buy real estate in Mexico. I really want to buy real estate in Vietnam. I really want to buy real estate in Canada. I just came back from Toronto and I loved it. So, there's a give and take. There's a give and take. Now, how can we change that so that it does help the economy? So if you are buying, perhaps you should pay a certain amount of tax. And perhaps if you are buying, you are limited to the number of homes you're allowed to buy. Charles, those big companies that you're talking about, there's several big hedge fund companies too. They're looking from China, from other countries that are looking to buy a whole bunch of real estate here as well. So again, give or take. And in order for us to do that, we have to change the rules a little bit so that doesn't happen, so that there's not a huge monopoly on big corporations buying real estate in any country.
I think eventually it'll get to that point, because monopoly plays a big role, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we don't want corporations owning vast majority of homes out there, and then they're the one that's controlling rent now, right? But honestly, in today's economy, Lisa, I feel like it could go either way because there's so much. I don't know. I mean, there's so much corruption going on.
Yeah, but that's been around for a while. It's just
I know, but then now it's getting more
the internet. Yeah,
and so because of that, a lot of people are losing trust in the government,
yeah,
and the leadership.
absolutely.
When it should have been when it should have been pointed out many decades ago, but we're not going to that in this episode. This is not a politics show, if you guys haven't noticed. If it is, it'll probably be called Cheer for President or something. I'm just playing. but yeah. And I know sometimes whenever we talk about things like this, it rubs people the wrong way. But I think it's important to understand. I say it a lot, to understand the politics side of things, because it makes you understand why things are happening in your city.
Yeah.
Trent goes, when you have a limited resource, it's understandable to ration that resource for those among your country or community. It does need to be regulated. I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. It does need to be regulated, but I don't know, man. I feel like I I vote for Chi. Hey, I got one person to vote for me. But I agree. Like, I think nowadays we don't have too much regulating because everybody's on the same side. Everybody's biased. But that's just me. But hey, let's go on to the next video, shall we?
Yay.
I don't want to stay on that topic too long. You guys might think I'm crazy. Okay, Dave Ramsey, y'all.
Let me tell you guys, this is what's happening with real estate. I promise you, you can look up this particular YouTube 5 years from now and you're going to go, yeah, that old fart was right again. That's what you're going to do. So prices are going to go up. Rates are going to go up and down, up and down, up and down. They always have and they always will. The only rate that you cannot adjust is mine. My interest rate on my mortgage is 0 because I don't have a mortgage. That's the only one you can control. Let me tell you guys.
How do you guys feel about that?
Well, Dave Ramsey takes his teachings from a very biblical standpoint, Chia, and he's more of like, hey, don't be in debt, don't be in debt, don't be in debt. The problem with that, and I wouldn't say it's a personal problem, I would say it's an economic problem where our income is not it's not growing as high as our consumer goods, right? And that's what inflation is. So if they wait for not having a mortgage at all, if you buy an average home of 500,000, how are you going to save enough money unless you are very, very aggressive with your investments at a very, very young age, which means your parents have had to do that for you as well in order for you to get to that point faster.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people disagree with some of the teachings from Dave Ramsey, but sometimes he has really, really good like
Yes,
lessons
he's
to
very
teach, you know?
conservative.
It's really, really conservative.
Yeah.
But majority do disagree with some of his advice, you know, and he's okay with it. You know, part of
Yeah.
that is also the reason why he has so many like views because when he could relate to a lot of people, you know, because it's really hard to save. It is, and
That's
yeah, those same people that are getting loans on cars, homes, and all that, credit card, they are in debt. You know, a lot of people. You know, so but if you have debt, like for example, let's say you took out a loan and your monthly payment is, just for easy math, you're paying $500 a month for that loan, but then you're using it to buy an asset that's generating you like $1,000 to $2,000 of income. Is that a good debt? I think that's a great debt, right? Because that debt is helping you to generate $1,500 of net cash flow. So like, but I think to the vast majority that he's speaking to don't understand that concept. Because like you and me were talking about this the other day, Lisa, right? To where sometimes some of our friends and family members that we talk about cash flowing, they don't understand that concept. For them, it's really, really hard for them to fathom, how would I be able to make money from my home? How would I be able to make money from that loan? Like for them, they don't understand that because they only understand that I have to go work a 9 to 5 and collect a check at the end of the week. Some people only understand that far out, you know. So I think his message reaches a lot of, you know, individuals at that point. But that same individual that this related to, eventually they get to a point in their lives to where this won't benefit them anymore. They've outgrown this advice. You know, kind of like we teach our kids, right?
Right.
So go ahead.
I think to make it really simplified, okay, I'm just going to use $100. Okay, so say for instance, guys, all right, Charles needs money, and Charles says, "Hey, you know, Lisa, can I get $100? I'll give you 110, you know, in a month." I was like, "All right, cool." And then I go to Chia. I was like, "You know what, Chia? You know, I need $100. Would you be willing to give me $100 and I'll give you $105?" See, I just made $5, guys. I just made $5 at the end of the month and everything like that without even using my own money. That's what Chia's talking about. You got to take a look at the numbers to see, hey, if you put yourself in a situation. So I'm using Chia and Charles as an example because we three are here. But realistically, if you use your money, your mortgage is 6-7%. Okay. But if you take out whatever equity that you have in there, and again, financial advisors will not tell you this. Okay. And I'm not saying I'm advising it, but I'm just saying this is the part where it's a good debt, right? It's like if you're paying X amount in rent anyway, which is 100% interest of its own. And when you get into an age where it's harder for you to move, you're retiring, your social security income is very, very limited and everything like that. That's the part where it's like, you got to consider, it's like, is this a good enough debt to create for you an asset? The car will not do that for you. Credit cards, things that you buy, material things that depreciate in value is always going to be a liability. But an asset is something that truly can actually grow your wealth and grow your portfolio, so that in, you know, after you pay off that certain amount, is it going to potentially build you a better lifestyle? Homes, yes. Cars, no. Everything else, no. Right?
Yep. And nowadays, there's so many ways to like make income on your certain debt. You know, you just gotta get smart and get creative, but there's a lot. But let's close it off with this. He's saying, watch this video again in 5 years, and you guys are gonna hear me say it. Prices are gonna go up, your rates are gonna stay the same for 30 years, but everything else is gonna go up, right? And then he closes it off with, my mortgage rate is 0 because I ain't got no mortgage, because he pays everything cash. But do you guys think prices and everything's gonna go up in 5 years?
I think he's not on a wrong because look at the inventory, Chia.
Right? Based off of today's inventory, yes, it
Correct.
seems that's gonna happen. Everything's gonna go up in the next 5 years.
Right. I mean, unless something catastrophic happens, then people just lose a lot of their jobs and whatnot. AI is taking over all these jobs, then that would be a different story. But because inventory continues to be so low, nobody wants to sell their house, especially because they got a really, really good interest rate. I say people now who got their 6 to 7% interest rate, in 5 years from now, when it goes up to 10, 11, I would not be surprised at all if it did. I would be more surprised if interest rates went back to 3% than them going up to 10%. Okay. So in that situation, the higher the interest rate is going to be, the less consumers who are in a house right now, they're going to try their best to keep their mortgage. They're going to try to get the second job, whatever side hustle that they need to do in order to make do. And all those people are like, well, I don't want strangers living in my house. They're going to reconsider that.
Yeah, it's sorry for laughing. I was just reading some of the top comments here and it just got me laughing. This guy goes,
What?
just get at least $200,000 in your bank and spend it all on a house. Be like Dave. I think he's being sarcastic. And this guy goes, yeah, let me just save up for the next 50 years to afford to pay off a house.
Yeah, I know.
This dude is so far out of the average man's loop now. It's insane. He's out of touch with the reality of the average American. The average home is 7x the average household income. So just save 100% of your income and don't pay taxes for 7 years. You're set. Genius. Apparently, they forgot about the real estate market between 2008 and 2011. And that's what a lot of Americans are going through today. You know, like the average American is finding it hard already to save. So how are they gonna buy a home cash? You know,
They're not.
And most of the time, some of these people call into the show, and I'll watch some of his reactions to it, and he'll tell them on the show, don't buy a home then. If you can't afford it to pay cash, don't buy it. And then now that person is like renting forever. Like, can you imagine we tell some of our first home buyers that, Lisa, hey, I know you could buy right now, and I know you could afford it, but you shouldn't because it's not cash. Like, they would have lost out on all that equity build. They would have lost out on building all those first time memories with their first kid, their family, how they outgrow it and then upgrade or downsize because now their kids are going away, you know, like they will lose out on all of that, you know? So like I think his message to a lot of Americans is it's a personal message because he went through a crisis during back in the day. You know, he was a realtor at that time at a younger age. He was selling homes. He was buying a lot of homes, and he owned a lot of investment properties. And during that time, for some reason, some banks called the payments due, like a balloon payment, basically, on all of his assets. And so he couldn't pay it off and he had to foreclose on all of it, you know? So that that just jaded him from the whole process. And so he's
Yeah.
sharing that frustration with everyone. But I think things have changed a lot since then, you know. It's not like how it used to be. Kind of like how I'm telling people it we're not gonna go through a crash like '08 again because I feel like we've learned from that. Because if you look at how loan officers take applications nowadays on borrowers, it's a lot. Like we even have certain buyers today that bought during that time, and they go, "I don't remember buying a home was this difficult. You guys are like asking me all these questions, asking for all these documentations. I don't remember doing none of this." And then we'll ask them, "Did you buy during '06, '07?" Yes, that's why. During that time, they didn't ask for none of this, you know.
And
So
it's getting more and more strict, Chia.
yeah,
You made that point because even with our underwriting and whatnot, and I feel like for me, I'm pretty OCD when it comes to paperwork, and I usually ask my clients everything up front, right? And by the time they get into underwriting and solidify a house, it's very minimal. It's like updated pay stub, updated paycheck. You know, we got to verify your employer and stuff, right? And more fraud that is being caught in and whatnot. The guidelines are changing. It's like, hey, more and more fraud. These industry, you know, there's certain industries unfortunately have created a lot more fraud, and therefore they're like, okay, well, if you work in this industry, we want this letter documentation. This, you can't just write this letter. We need it from your employer, so on and so forth. If you're moving, there's one of the biggest frauds in the last 2 years is occupancy fraud, where people are wanting to buy a house as an investment property, but they're utilizing a small down payment as their primary residence, but they live roughly about 2-3 hours away. Now, you know, many people from the Bay Area are moving here and they're commuting. That makes total sense, but we're getting more and more people who really didn't move, so that makes it tougher.
yeah. And with that, guys, we're gonna end the show because we are way past our deadline. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. Hope to see you guys next time. All right. Peace out. We're gonna close it up here. Thanks for
All right, thank
watching.
you guys.